Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the third power session in the Strengthen the Harmony Between Your Life, Family, and Work series. For those of you that haven't joined us before and don't know me, I'm Judy Whalen. I am your host for the series, and my business is the Center for Strategic Change, which is sponsoring this series. So today we have a whole variety of new topics, including how to get clarity, using that clarity to make choices, and then what stands in the way sometimes when you're trying to make choices. So for those of you that haven't been here, I'm going to do a quick review and share with you how this series is unfolding. And so let's just jump into that. Okay, it's going to take this moving because it always goes to sleep, but here we go. So just to review, the whole purpose of this series is to offer a different approach to work-life balance and to help you rethink how you think about it, reframe how you think about it. Because over the years, I have observed, as I've worked with my clients in the areas of strategy and did research on successful leaders, I have observed that trying to achieve work-life balance actually created more stress for whoever was trying to achieve it than actually relieving it. So I wanted to find a way that I could help my clients deal with that piece of their life so they could be more effective in the work that they do and make a greater impact. So that's the purpose of this series. Now, if you haven't joined us before, this is how the series is unfolding. There's 5 power sessions, so this is session number 3. It's every week on Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The next session is August. Wouldn't that be nice if it was still August? The next session is September 20th. Time is flying way too fast for me. There's a recording of each session, and you can access the recordings on YouTube on the Center for Strategic Change's YouTube channel. And then there's a gift and an announcement at the end of this session. And if you have questions during this session, just put your questions in the chat. The reason we're doing it this way is we'll answer questions as we get them if there is time. If there's not time, and good afternoon, Laurentino, it's nice to see you here. If there's not time during the actual 30 minutes, because this goes by so quickly, we will answer your questions by email and send you the answer. And if you want to have access to all the questions that come up, just put your email in the chat and we'll make sure you get all the answers. Did this fall asleep already? Okay, let's move on. So today's power session, we're going to do a real quick review. We're going to talk about happiness. We're going to dig into clarity, how to achieve it, and then how clarity helps you make choices and what can interfere when you're ready to make those choices. And then again, there's another power session tip and we'll wrap up. So let's move on. This whole series is about reframing how we think about work-life balance, because we can see on that little slide that in most cases, balance is never totally achieved. And that's what's causing people stress. Our goal is to help you rethink about your life in terms of creating harmony, strengthening the harmony between your personal life, your family life, and your work life, and between all of those 3 elements. So here's just a quick review of how we started the series. Remember, we started with the definition of harmony, and I asked you to jot down all those words in blue. And then we went on to talk about the definition of balance and about how this is equilibrium and stability and even distribution of weight. Then last time we took a look at those words in terms of what words were the same for both harmony and balance. And it was that pleasing arrangement and that agreement, although the means of judging does not quite take it far enough to determining what's an agreement, but it's kind of similar. But then there's all these other words that were in the definitions that just don't seem to be the same. And the problem most people end up struggling with is this whole equilibrium thing and the even distribution or even weight. And that's why I prefer the definition of harmony, because it's about producing that internal calm and then weaving all the events of your life into a single narrative and making choices as things come along. I reviewed last time that right now, work-life balance is in the media in all kinds of places. And I'm wrapping this into this series because as you hear about it in the media, I want you to be able to think carefully about what you're hearing so that you don't get back on that work-life balance, that balance beam, and try to have everything be in balance. I want you to be able to think about work-life balance differently. And the reason this is in the news right now is because there's the aging workforce, the impacts that it's having on generations X, Y, and Z, the diversity of families, and of course, the pandemic. Now that we're all going back to I shouldn't say all, that many of us are having to go back to the office. So that's the reason why you're hearing about it so much in the media. And then last time we continued to talk about there is this controversy, and I just want to share some things with you. There's the camp, let's just say, there's the camp of people who believe it is totally elusive and a complete myth. But then there's others, such as entrepreneurs, who think that it's way over exaggerated, that 68% of them said the importance of work-life balance is exaggerated. They don't see it as a problem. So just be aware there's controversy. And when you hear the controversy, I want you to be able to think back to that word harmony. And we talked about how our brains juggle multiple things and multiple thoughts at once. There is no our brains are so fantastic and able to handle so many things that we don't just think of one thing at a time. And the other controversy around work-life balance just is that we are all different. There is no one single method, process that would fit every single one of us. So take that burden off your shoulders and be open to finding the process that makes sense for you. And the other piece around the controversy is sometimes we think it's a work-life balance issue when actually there is a different root cause causing the unhappiness. And like last time I said, I don't want to dig into that because that's not the purpose of this series, but just be aware that the unhappiness or the struggle you're feeling with work-life balance could be totally a different reason. So our goal again is to reach harmony, to strengthen the harmony between our life, family, and work. And to do that, one of the first steps is to create awareness, which is why the tip last week was to just have you observe your life and identify where do you start to feel that stress? Where is it you sense your blood pressure going up or you're more tired? Just to be aware of what's going on in your life. So an awareness leads to clarity, and we're going to spend more time today on clarity, getting clear. And clarity leads you to the opportunity to make choices if you so desire. Okay, that's not that you have to make a choice. It's if you so desire. You have the clarity then to make a good choice. And choices lead you to that harmony. The harmony to strengthen the harmony between your life, family, and work. And my goal with this whole series is to remove all of this stress, anxiety, and confusion that you feel and all that frustration and exhaustion. And remember, the key thing is that men experience this just as much as women. And I want to get you to a point where you can have harmony in your life and you can enjoy your everyday activities. And last week, the tip, here's the tip again, was to observe yourself as you move through your week. It's creating that awareness. Notice how you feel, what triggered it, and then keep a log. So that's what we accomplished last week. Oh, and I also asked you to continue doing the 5 minutes of quiet. The 5 minutes of quiet. Unplug. Turn off the TV, get off your music, get off your phone, get off your laptop or your computer. 5 minutes of quiet. And as we continue to move through today, you're going to see the significance of just having quiet time. So that's what we've accomplished. Now, moving forward, we're going to continue to explore clarity, how to get to that state of being clear. So today's topic starts with happiness. You know, the whole point, if we think about work-life balance, when it's talked about in the media, the whole point of work-life balance is to reduce your stress so you can be happier. Okay, that's the end result. Awareness, clarity, choices, harmony, happiness. Happiness in your life, happiness with your life. So let me just share with you this definition of happiness by a very, very astute person, Mahatma Gandhi. He said that happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. What you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. Now just think about that definition and think about your day-to-day activities. Have you ever experienced a situation in which someone asks you to do something, and even though you know you don't want to do it, you just say, okay, I'll do it. Okay, so there's just one real simple example. What you do is you're doing whatever they asked you to do, even though you either don't want to do it or you know it's not the right thing. So that's out of harmony. So my hunch on that example is that most likely you're not real happy about doing it, and you're not very happy when you are doing it. So again, think about your life. There's so many examples, you know, just as I think about my life and my previous life before I was enlightened about harmony, where there were times when I felt like I was sitting on the sideline when everybody else was having fun or doing something. So you have to just look real carefully at how you think, and then what you think, and what you say, and what you do. So just use that as a guiding force as you go through your days in this next week to see if you can achieve true happiness where things are aligned. And Laurentino, thank you. Happiness for you is the momentum of being happy. And you're exactly right, because you're aligned. What you're thinking, what you're saying, and what you're doing is being aligned. So I want to just share this little graph with you, or chart. We're not going to dig into it in great depth right now. We do dig into it in great depth in my Strength in the Harmony online program, but the 30 minutes doesn't give us a whole lot of time to do that here. So we live our life in 4 quadrants: mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. Okay, so there's those 4 quadrants that are part of our life, whether we recognize them or not. They're there. Now, it's the interesting thing, though, that it's that inner world, your mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. It's how you deal and think about all of those and interact with all of those that creates what you have in your outer world. Like I said, we don't have a lot of time today to dig into this in great depth, but just put this in the back of your mind or jot it down on a piece of paper. It's that your inner world creates your outer world, and how you think, what you do, what you say, what you believe, how you feel, because those emotions are feelings. Those things all create what begins to manifest in your outer world. So again, just tuck this away and ponder it. Think about it. Happiness is when you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. And when you find yourself in a stressing situation, think about those 3 things and which one might have been out of whack. So we're going to go on and talk some more about clarity and how you can achieve clarity. So here's the first tip, and we started this tip with the tip of the week last week, is just identify the major stressors, the conflicts that you're experiencing. The things that cause your stress to go up or you to get angry or some kind of an emotion that you feel, or perhaps it's something that makes you more tired. Just identify those. This is why last week's tip is so important. Keep a log and do it for more than one day, because not every day is exactly the same. There'll be other things that come up. It might be I was going to say a phone call, but who makes phone calls anymore? Everybody texts. It could also be what you hear or read. Identify those things that are causing you to stress, to have anxiety. Another tip, for clarity, is avoid clarity sapping influences. Now, I put this picture of a donut here because hopefully we all, eating sweets is a treat. But you need to understand how sugar interferes with your own body, and everybody is different. So I'm not saying don't eat a donut or don't have a treat. I'm saying be aware of how it impacts you. And it's not just donuts. It can be other types of food. It could be social media, what you read on social media. It could be people who are in your sphere of influence and they zap your clarity. There's people who are real anxious to tell you, you should, or why aren't you? Well, you should. Be careful about who you let into your circle of influence. So avoid things that zap your clarity. It can be books, even music. And then another tip is look inside. Okay. And this is part of the reason that I offered you tip number 1, which was those 5 minutes of quiet. It's often really hard to look inside in the clutter and the chatter of everyday life. When we've got our headphones on or the TV's going, or we've got kids that are asking questions and need help, or trying to interact with a friend, a spouse, a significant other. There's all these things that cause, let's just say, clutter in our sphere. And the 5 minutes of quiet, once you do this often enough, you will be able to let go of the thoughts about, I need to do this, I need to do that, your to-do list. Those will eventually go away, and you'll be able to hear yourself. And this may sound very strange to some of you who aren't familiar with quiet and listening to yourself, is we all have innate wisdom inside of us. And when we have a question, oftentimes we really know the answer if we're only quiet enough to hear it. And if we remove all the clutter, the chatter, is give yourself that gift of at least 5 minutes of quiet. And as you develop the habit, you'll be astounded at the wisdom you hear. So that's tip number 3, look inside. Tip number 4, invest time in self-care. We're so good at mapping out how we want to invest time, especially if we own a business. What do we need to do? How much time do we need to spend on it? What needs to get done each day? That we often overlook the importance of us, of you. No one can do this other than you. You make the decisions on how you take care of yourself. And so self-care involves, what are you eating? Are you drinking enough water? Are you exercising? And there's a definite connection between exercise and clarity of the brain. It gets rid of some of that clutter. So there's all types of ways for self-care. And I just urge you to make you and your self-care a priority. Because if you're not good and you're not healthy and you're not clear, how can you help anybody else be healthy, clear, make good choices? So invest time in your own self-care. And tip number 5, you might think this is a little odd, but there's a direct benefit between clarity and organization. We talked about the clutter of the mind. Just give yourself the gift of organization. And by that, I mean, get rid of some of the clutter that's in your physical environment. It truly does impact how you think. So one little tip here is find a drawer or a counter or a closet and just get it organized. Start really small. Don't take on the whole entire house, not your whole entire office. Take on one piece, maybe one piece that's really been bugging you, and just get it organized. Get rid of the things you don't need. Donate them. Throw some stuff away. Repurpose them. Give yourself that gift of organization because it helps to reduce your stress. So those are just some tips, and it's not the only tips on clarity, but it's some tips on clarity. And clarity leads to choices. And choices, is what leads then to you reaching harmony. However, sometimes when we try to make a choice, we get stuck. And the reason we get stuck is because we have fear. And fear is a whole big topic. I could do a whole series on fear. But for this purpose, I just want you to just realize you need to let go of the fear so you can make the choices that need to be made. So what stands in our way of letting go of fear? And how does it impact us so that we can't let go and we can't make the choices? Okay, so fear makes your mind hazy. We just talked about getting that clarity and getting rid of that clutter. Well, fear just makes it all fuzzy again. Or fear creates confusion. We worked on clarity and having you figured out things so that they're clear in your mind. But then when you embrace fear, it gets all fuzzy again and you get confused about what choices to make. It creates procrastination. And I have to tell you, when I looked at this photo, I just thought, oh man, I can identify with this. Because as I've moved through my life, there's been all types of questions, choices I've had to make. And there's all kinds of ways I could find to procrastinate. But eventually you have to move on. You can't sit and stack cups forever. So you've got to let go of the fear so you can make the choice. And again, fear clouds your judgment. And it's not just about what I'm going to call these simple choices about, do I eat healthy or not? And quite frankly, this picture just resonates with me because I always gravitate towards that chocolate. But I also have to have those healthy vegetables and the healthy food. So don't think that it's either or. This could be that you eat healthy 80% of the time, and then you have a treat or a snack or something the other 20%. So there's ways to deal with all of this. Sometimes, though, those choices are so much bigger and more difficult and complex than me making a choice between chocolate or a healthy food. So you need to get clarity in order to make those choices, and you need to let go of the fear. And lastly, fear keeps us immobilized. If you really let that fear drive you, you stay where you are. You don't make a change. You don't make a choice. You just stay anchored to the same spot. And when you're thinking about creating harmony and letting go of this concept of balance, fear can interfere with that. And I want to help you get free from that concept and that idea so that you can be free, you can grow, and you can have harmony throughout your life and in your life. So clarity, again, is the key. It's the state of getting clear that leads you to harmony, assuming you let go of the fear. So here's the key takeaways for today, because honest to goodness, this clock just keeps right on going. Continue to reframe how you think about work-life balance. Please embrace the fact that you can achieve harmony between your life, family, and work. And happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. You know, we live our lives in 4 areas: mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. And then awareness creates clarity. Clarity leads to choices. Choices leads to harmony, and harmony leads to happiness. So let go of the fear, and I'm going to share with you now the tip of the week. So here's the tip of the week. This is building on what we did last week, where you were observing where things caused you stress, where there were triggers. So now I want you to take a look at what you experienced or what you are experiencing and pick one area of your life that's causing you stress, anxiety, exhaustion, something that's impacting your health, whatever's causing you to not quite have that harmony. Then take these next 3 steps, and this time write things down, okay? Describe what triggered the action. Was it you couldn't get the kids out the door on time? Was that the real trigger, or was it the trigger that their clothes were scattered all over the house and nobody could find anything so they could get out the door on time? Okay, describe the trigger. Then describe your reaction, your emotions, the outcome, your state of mind. What was your reaction? When you have those 2 things done, then brainstorm. And brainstorm just means there is no right or wrong answer, choice, whatever. It's just brainstorm whatever comes to mind, some options. Even if they're just hilarious or truly outlandish, just brainstorm 3 options to prevent it from happening again. Then step back and look at your list and select one option that will prevent it from happening again. That is easy to do. I don't want this to be hard, because hard can be discouraging and you'll give up. Pick one option that is easy to do. It could simply be have the kids put their clothes on the end of the bed. That's it. Make it simple, make it easy so you achieve success. So that's the tip of the week, to help remove any kind of stress, frustration, anxiety that you encounter. So our next session is next Tuesday, September 20th, again at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And next week, we're digging into mindset, how your mind impacts all of this, your core values, and how your core values guide your choices. And then again, we'll have another tip of the week. But I thought today, because we're starting to get really into this quite deeply now, I wanted to give you some humor. So here's the humor of the day and of the week. The quack of the day is what I call it. If you look like your passport photo, you probably need a vacation. And on that note, I want to say thank you again for joining me. Here's 2 free gifts again, the 30-minute strategy call. Just go to the link and schedule it. I'm happy to talk to you and help you keep moving forward. Again, there is no sales involved in that call. And the other free gift, again, is develop a positive mindset in 5 minutes a day. And just take a screenshot of that link and drop it in, and you can fill in the form, and it'll immediately download for you. So here's some screenshots of the book. I'm so tickled that I got this thing finished. and it's so beautiful. So, you know, our world is so intrudes on our mindset so much every single day that just one tip a day that can help you be positive will make a big difference in your life. So again, there's the links. I'll leave this up for a little bit. And I want to just say thank you. If you have questions, put those in the chat. And again, Strengthen the Harmony program is sponsored by my Business Center for Strategic Change. And I look forward to seeing you next week, Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And I'm going to put these links back up just in case you haven't had time to take a screenshot. Again, thanks so much and look forward to seeing you next week. Bye-bye.